Joining the Live Tour, he says that it's quite like being at the Pat Mayo podcast, even though he's never been there. But not really. But he's on vacation in Michigan. So Scott and I doing the Scottish Open coming up next. Hey everybody, welcome to Gaming Golf. Here with Scott Jenstad, Jeff Ritter on vacation in Michigan on a lake somewhere in a boat. Bad Wi-Fi apparently, or he just doesn't like us or something. No, he's on vacation. So it's just Scott and I today, and we're excited to do the Gaming Golf podcast for the Scottish Open. It's a unique format or unique situation here, Scott, in that we have a overseas tournament that isn't the British Open that we're still covering.
Yeah, it's a combination with the PGA Tour and the DP Tour, and it's fun. It's a really good feel. I think 14 of the top 15 are here, and coming off the most insane quote in history by Taylor Gooch, it's going to be fun to talk some golf.
Yeah, exactly. Let's get into that real quick. So Taylor Gooch gets interviewed after the Live tournament in Portland, and he's part of the team that won.
Yep.
And I guess there was a little bit of crowd. They were excited on 18. He goes, I've never played in the Ryder Cup, but I can't imagine it's any much different than that or something of that nature. It was like, did you really say that? Like, never talk again, ever. I mean, that's like as bad as some of my opens for this podcast.
The funny thing was like DJ actually turned his head away to right when he said it, like he just couldn't believe he said it. My real question is, how do DJ, Gooch, Pat Perez, and I forget who else end up on the same team? Like that doesn't, it was for the 48-man field with a lot of questionable players. How'd those four guys end up on the same team?
Well, nobody likes Bryson or Brooks. So that's two fewer Americans. There's a lot of foreign players on this tour. I mean, it's basically the Americans. Is the way I look at it.
Yes, yeah. It was that quote. I had to watch it again to make sure he actually said what I thought he said. But what an insane, crazy quote.
Well, you see Patrick Reed's face there. It's pretty.
Oh, that's
funny.
right. It was Reed was the fourth guy. Like, you have four of the best players. I don't know how they ended up on the same team, but it was as if anybody cares who wins.
They basically choose their own teams unless they don't know anybody, and then you get stuck on a team. It's kind of like that tournament, the two-team tournament down in New Orleans there.
Right, where Xander and Cantler are playing together, and then a bunch of no-name. It's just a
bunch of people get paired together because they don't have a partner. I don't know.
It was wild, and I guess if you give people free tickets and a bunch of drinks, they get a little rowdy and have some fun. But I don't know. I'm still not really overly interested in it.
Yeah, I didn't watch a second of it yet. I did watch a little bit of the deer. It was a tough watch, without a doubt. But
yeah, golf is tough when you have the runaway like that. And JT Poston pretty much ran away with that. He was first wire-to-wire leader of the PGA Tour this year, but he played awesome. I had a couple of runners in there for a while that I thought might make a run at. Charles Howell III played well for a while, and Chris Gotterup was up there for a was a couple of guys that we had bet on.
I had both of those in my lineup. Yep.
Yeah, lineup worked great, but betting wise, like they got close, and then just Poston never really came back and let anybody into it, and he just played great all weekend.
Yeah, and anybody that was close to him kind of faltered on Sunday too.
Yeah.
At one point, it was a 2-shot lead, and that's about as close as it got.
Yeah, for an event that didn't have a lot of names, and it was not a great one. But I'm looking forward to this field. This is a really good event. Obviously, if you're playing DraftKings, make sure you get lineups in early. We got early lock times with the event in Scotland, early TV times. Early for us on the West Coast, but it's kind of fun when the tournament's on in the morning and ends at noon or 1 o'clock, and you got the rest of your day free. But I always like that with the British Open. I get up super early, before the family's up. I'll watch a bunch of holes before anything gets going.
Well, the great part is you can go to bed late and see the start of it, because British Open coverage rules. Yeah. So you get every shot of every group, basically. Yeah. Unlike the PGA.
Christy always looks at me when the PGA or the British Open's on. She's like, "What are you watching at 1 a.m? Are you watching like a tape tournament?" I'm like, "No, this is live. Just teed off."
Yep. You start to learn what an 8-hour time difference looks like.
No doubt.
So there. Plus, it's light early there too. So let's jump right into it. The Scottish Open. It's an interesting co-run tournament by the PGA Tour and the DP World Tour, and you get points for whichever tour you're on. So it's a great field because of that. the big there's going to be and that's a great thing too, is we start to learn some of the names of some of the Euros here too that we don't really know all that well in preparation for next week. 5 figures on DraftKings. There's 4 players: Scotty Scheffler at 11.2, Rahm at 11,000, JT at 10.6, and Matt Fitzpatrick at 10.1. I believe this is Matt Fitzpatrick's first tournament since winning the U.S. Open. So pretty good top tier there. Who do you like?
You know, it's funny. I think this is a roster build answer for me more than anything, but there are so many players in the 9s and 8s that I like that I just don't think I'm paying up in this range this week. I mean, you can't argue against Scheffler, Rahm, or JT ever. I mean, they're probably the 3 best players in the world right now, and it's tough to argue against them. But I just think that, you know, Scheffler and Rahm are like in the 11s, where there's so many big names in the 9s that it's really like it's like a 2,000 separation instead of usually like a 1,000 separation. I think it's a big deal there. If I go someone here and, you know, I got to play with lineups some more, it will be Scheffler for me. I think that, you know, he hasn't won in, the 2 months now. So everybody's, you know, maybe people forget about him, but hitting the ball great. It's just he's kind of putting badly the last like month and a half. So just not dominating there, you know, losing strokes, gain putting in like 4 of the last 6 events, but still hitting it really well. I think, you know, I would take him based on the fact that he's super expensive, and maybe I think will be less rostered than Rahm and JT. If you give me that with the top guy, I'll kind of go game theory with it there. So I'd go Scheffler, but as I built lineups and kind of looked at this, my thought was to go with multiple guys in the 9s and maybe a guy in the 8 and kind of build more of a balanced approach, because some of the names in the 9s are really good.
Yeah, they are. And that's the amazing part.
How do you feel about Fitz coming off the major wins? That's something you want to build on? You think you kind of jump off it? How do you feel about that?
Well, that was just the question. Is like, you know, he hasn't played since then, but you know, he was playing really well before the U.S. Open too. It just hadn't broken through, and finally he does. And you know, he's broken through in Europe before, so I could see it. I mean, I think that the logic of not going after a guy after his breakthrough steered us away from Scheffler incorrectly. So I don't know. I feel like I learned from that. I know Ritter likes JT in this top tier.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's hard not to, and JT feels like a guy that, you know, plays well wherever he is. It's hard to argue against any of these guys who are just playing so well, this elite group. You know, JT was not great at the U.S. Open, played really well at RBC and then missed the cut at Schwab. So maybe a little bit off his elite game, but, you know, it's JT. He can turn it on at any point, and, you know, there's a nice ramp up for him going to the British. It seemed like him and Ricky and Spieth were having a lot of fun this week. I saw them playing in Ireland with pints of beer, walking on the fairway. So it seems like those guys have a lot of fun in their life, which I kind of like.
Yeah, having fun is a good thing. And that Pro-Am, by the way, were you reading about that? Was a loaded field.
Yeah, and as long as you're not Jordan Spieth, you get DQ'd from it. It was really good. But yeah, when Tiger and JT show up for a Pro-Am, it's pretty legit. And Rahm also.
Yeah, I think there was like 30 out of the top 100 were there.
I like Tiger helicoptering his way in, and it's like I'm here and I'm ready. Let's go.
Yep. So we'll have a good conversation about Tiger soon. But
so he is playing this week or playing next week, but not this week, right?
Correct.
Yeah,
correct. Let's hit the 9,000s. Xander, fresh off a victory at Hartford, 99. Cantlay, 96. Morikawa, 94. That's as low as we've seen him in a while. Will Z at 93. Sam Burns at 92. Cam Smith at 91. Hideki at 9,000. You're right. The 9,000s are a loaded tier.
Stacked. And I mean, and you know, really high level. It's not like just like good players. We got really great players. I'm building from here for sure. I'm going to start with Xander at 9,900. Just he's playing out of his mind. He won the Pro-Am that you just mentioned, you know, the 36-hole Pro-Am there. But I mean, he's coming off a win at Travelers where he gained 8.4 shots tee to green, 5.7 approach, putted really well that week too to get the win. You look at his last 5 tournaments since he missed the cut at the Masters. First, 14th, 18th, 13th, and 5th. Gaining huge in tee to green and in all those events. So just ball striking really well right now. You look at the last 24 rounds, he's first in the field and approach, 6th in ball striking, 7th tee to green, 15th in short game. So kind of doing it all around the course rather than just one spot. We usually see, you know, guys that ball striking well, maybe not hitting around the greens well, but Xander's just playing really well. I'm surprised he's 9,900. I thought he'd be about 10-3, 10-4, somewhere in there. So I'm definitely building with him. And then Will Z also, I think it's a really good, everything I've read about this course, it's a very ball striker course. Unless the wind comes up, that makes it tough. Sounds like it's gonna be pretty calm over the weekend wind-wise, so we might see some high scores. I think Minwoo Lee won here at 18 under last year, so there's gonna be a lot of birdies in this course. You look at Will Z, gained 7.3 in approach at the U.S. Open. Last 4 events, he has 3 top 5s, just playing great right now. First in the field in ball striking, last 24 rounds, 8th tee to green, 4th off the tee, 10th in the approach, just kind of all around ball striking game. You know, among the elite there. So I do like him. I think the price is too low on him also. And finally, in this range, there's be some laps where I play, try and get 3 of these guys, but probably 2 of 3. I really like Hideki again at 9,000. I think the price is low on him too. Hit it great in the U.S. Open, finished 4th, gained 9.1 on approach there. Last 5 events, 4 top 20. Seems like he's finally back to fully healthy Hideki. You look at the last 24 rounds, the ball striking numbers all hold: 6th in approach, 11th ball striking, 12th tee to green. We have Hideki, regular Hideki back now. The neck issue's gone, and I really like all 3 of those guys. You could argue for a lot of guys in this range. You probably have a couple others you like, but Xander, Will Z, and Hideki are going to be kind of the core of my lineups this week.
Yeah, I can't stay away from Will Z at 93, and neither can Jeff Ritter.
Yeah.
He said that he's already used him in his one and done. Otherwise, he'd use him here. He feels that strongly about Will Z. And at 93, yeah, I get you, and I see why you shy away from like the 10s when you got these as options here. One thing I was spitballing about is like, what do you do? Like are we going to be able to watch more of this tournament than we would of other tournaments, since it's a combined tournament? This is the European Tour. It is the PGA Tour stop.
Right.
Golf Channel can just roll one coverage into the next, right?
You looked up the TV times? I have not.
I did. For tomorrow, for Thursday, I should say, excuse me. For Thursday, it's 5:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. So 5 hours of coverage, Pacific time, that is. If you do ESPN Plus, it starts at 11:30 p.m. Wednesday night. So goes till like 7:30. So yeah, you do get, instead of 3 hours, you get 5.
That's nice. Yeah, that's going to be fun. I will definitely, and with a field this good, like after last week, didn't watch a lot. It'll be fun to get there and watch a bunch of golf this weekend.
Absolutely, indeed. All right.
Before we leave, how do you feel about Cantlay right now? Seems like he's turned his game around. It's not a major, so we can look at him this week. But 3 state top 15s. Do you think he gets lost a little bit in this mix with Xander right there? I mean, and Spieth, in the 8,000s right below him. We'll talk about the 8s in a second. Between Morikawa and Xander and Will Z, I wonder if Cantlay gets lost in this mix. Might be a big name you can get a low percentage.
Yeah, 3, 14, 13 in his last 3 tournaments. Hated that Sunday at Hartford. That 76 when he was like the only guy that was poised to make a run at his buddy Xander.
Yeah.
Still hasn't smiled on the golf course ever.
No,
except for maybe at the Ryder Cup. Maybe he did there. He showed emotion at least. So that's a start.
Often grumpy for sure. I just think he gets for as good of a player, and he's gonna get lost a little bit this week. I think if you wanted to kind of go against the grain, he might be a good good one. You can get a lower percentage. He'll definitely be lower than Xander and definitely lower than Will Z.
Yeah, I wish I had him available in my one and done. I do not. So
I like that. That'd be a sneaky one too.
Yeah, I mean that's where I feel like the advantage really comes in, is finding that low end guy there. I still have Scotty Scheffler, saving him still for what? I don't know.
Are you gonna play him at St. Andrews?
Yes, I am.
Okay. I was gonna say, if you're gonna save him, you might as well do it the last major, right?
Yeah, as either that or do it for I guess you could do it for the playoffs. But why wait till that?
You think he's gonna make the FedEx playoffs?
I think he might. Hey, I like how you called it by its proper name. What a company man you are.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. 8,000.
A company man for FedEx, which I have no affiliation with.
I know, right? I know. 8,000's pretty good names here too. Jordan Spieth, the DQ'd. We'll call him the DQ at 89. Victor Hovland, 88. Sungjae at 87. Joaquin Niemann, 86. Last seen disappointing the hell out of us when we all used him. One and done. Ryan Fox, European darling, at 85. Tommy Fleetwood, 84. Corey Connors, friend of the podcast, 83. Billy Horschel, strong words, I think either today or yesterday, about the LIV guys at 82. Yeah. Cam Young at 81 and Max Homa at 8,000. What do you like in this group?
Interesting group, right? These are some big names, and Ryan Fox is popular this week. Everybody loves him. He's the Euro Tour. Last 6 events, he has a win, 3 seconds, a third, and a T8. He missed the cut at the U.S. Open, but was 54 at the PGA. I was surprised how high DraftKings priced him. I figured he would be 77, 78, but 8,500 is really expensive for Fox there. I think I'm going to go away from that. The name that intrigues me here actually is Victor Hovland, 8,800. I can't believe we got Victor Hovland under 9,000. He's slumping right now, hasn't made a top 20 last 6 events, but still, you look at ball striking numbers, and it seems like that's going to be the place to go this week. Last 24 rounds, he's 5th in ball striking this field, 8th in approach. We've talked at length about his issues around the green, but I kind of like jumping back in on Hovland this week at 8,800. I think he's an interesting bet this week too at his odds. We'll talk about that in a second. But I think Hovland at 8,800 is a good spot for him to maybe get back on his game. And I just think Max Homa's flat mispriced in this tournament. 8,000 seems crazy low. We talked about Max a bunch. One of my favorite players. I know you guys make fun of me for bringing him up too much, but made 10 straight cuts, 7 of those top 20s. Like, he's playing great golf right now. He won at Wells Fargo. He's gained an approach in 9 straight, gained tee to green in 8 straight, 7 of those significant gains in that metric. He was only 47th at the U.S. Open last time out. When we talked about him there. But he lost 6 strokes putting in that event. Like, it was all on the greens.
Right.
He was top 25 off the tee and an approach at the U.S. Open. So the ball striking stayed there. It was still really good. Just putted really badly this week. And we've seen that can be really variable. So I think 8,000, Homa's just underpriced. I think it'll be pretty popular, probably. A lot of people like him. But there's a lot of names in this field, so maybe that helps a little bit. I just think 8,000 is way too cheap for Homa, and I will definitely be owning him.
Yeah, I'm persuaded. I will definitely have him too. What do you think about the idea that everybody might be off of Neiman after his disastrous performance last time and get him back at 86 when he's low owned?
I think he's going to be very low owned between Spieth and Hovland right above him, and then Fleetwood and Ryan Fox right below him. I think he will be very, very under owned. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, he definitely played badly at Travelers across the board, hit it bad, putted bad, was bad around the greens. Just had a bad weekend. But he's been great most of the season. Obviously, won at Genesis at Torrey earlier in the year. Third at Memorial in June. So yeah, I can see that, and I think that it's one of those plays. If you do like him this week, you're probably going to get him at 6 to 8%, which is a really good ownership level for someone who could definitely compete, make the top 10 at 8,600, well priced. I just think the names around him will make him very low percent.
I tend to agree with you on that one there. Before I move on to the $7,000 tier and cheaper, quick note from our Blue Wire sponsors. Thanks, as always, for listening to the RotoWire Gaming Golf podcast. As always, we are on the Blue Wire Network, and we appreciate them hosting us here. Let's move into the copious $7,000 tier. As always, we break it in half. Not as big of a tier as in other years, but in other tournaments, still pretty big. Your guy, Keegan Bradley's at 79. Can we just say you're going to take him?
Yeah, I'm going to be boring in this range. I'm going Keegan at 7,900, made 6 straight cuts, 3 of those top 10s. I mean, he led the field at the U.S. Open in approach at 10.9 strokes gained. I mean, just hitting the ball really well. Gained 5.7 tee to green and 5.1 approach at Travelers, his last tourney. So, it came off the U.S. Open, hit it again really well. Actually putting pretty well, too. He's like top 25 in the last 24 rounds in putting, which if Keegan putts decently, he's going to make the cut. He's going to be up there. He's just such a solid ball striker. And I'm going to go back to a friend of the podcast and near major champion Mito Pereira at 7,700. I think he's gonna be overlooked this week. 2 straight missed cuts. I think people are like, maybe he's not playing as well. But man, prior to that, 7 straight top 30s. Had 3 straight top 20s. You look at the last 24 rounds. You kind of just don't focus as much on the last 2 weeks. And second tee to green, 4th ball striking, 7th off the tee, 11th on approach. Like, he's an elite ball striker right now. And I'm going to go back to him. I think the price is nice this week at 7,700. So I'm going to go back there. My other guy in this range, I think that Keith Mitchell's pretty playable this week, playing really well right now. He had a top 20 the last 2 events, playing really well. The last 4 events in terms of tee to green off the tee. Approach game has not been great. Maybe he pulls me back a little bit on him. I like Keegan and Mito a little bit more for that reason, but putting's been solid. Mitchell's been playing pretty good golf right now too.
Yeah, so you're going to say Nito, check your libido, and roll to the church in your new Mito or something like that.
Oh, I actually got that reference and like it. I'm good.
Thank you.
Yeah, whenever you can bust out some topical young MC, you got to do it.
Yeah, of course. Anything that was done before this century.
How do you feel about the Euros and I guess he's not a Euro, but Lucas Herbert, and he's from Australia, right? I was
just going to say, what about the local boy, Bobby Mack?
And Bobby Mack, both at 7,600. How are you feeling about those two this week?
Well, finished 13. Bobby Mack, I just have his page open right now. It's funny that you brought that up because I was going to cue you up. I was like, no, what do you think about him? 13th last week at the Irish Open, but prior to that, missed 2 cuts. Not great form lately. I like recent form as a good barometer. Trying to look to see did he play. I don't know if our pages are going to list all of his European events in the previous year. So I'm not quite sure, but in the Open Championship last year, he finished 8th place. So, he's home. Yep. That doesn't always work. Remember, everybody at Royal Portrush, everybody was all over Rory. Yep. And he struggled and he carried a lot of weight. It felt like that year.
Yeah.
So that doesn't always work in your favor to be the local guy going, of course, Shane Lowry run the whole thing, but he's not from Northern Ireland, mind you, but still Irish guy winning.
Yeah, I'm looking at McIntyre. He was 13th last week at the Irish Open, so playing okay. He didn't have really any good finishes on the DP Tour prior to that. I'm actually a fade this week on Lucas Herbert. I think a lot of people are going to be on him. He was top 4 here at this event at this course the last 2 years, and he was top 10 last week at the Irish Open. I just looked a little deeper, and I don't love his ball striking numbers right now. He's super reliant on his putting right now. He's been putting out of his mind.
Mm-hmm.
I hate betting on that. I hate relying on that, and maybe he rides that another week, but. In terms of how popular he's going to be, I'm a fade on him this week. I think that I'm going to go away from the super hot putter and fade the chalk on that one.
All right, very good. Let's go in the lower tier here. We got and by the way, going back to the 8,000s, Mr. Ritter likes Ryan Fox a lot. He also in the lower tier likes Aaron Rye at 7,400. What say you about Aaron Rye, guy? I think that was on your roster. Or might still be.
Still is on my roster. I do like Aaron Rye this week. I think that a lot of people are going to notice that him, just because he won at this event on this course in 2020. He was, I think, 35th last year, so had some good history here. Was T9 at the Irish Open last week, so playing well at the moment. He's made his last 5 PGA cuts too, so he's kind of been back and forth, but playing well in the PGA Tour. Hit it really well at the Canadian. That jumped out to me. Gained 10.7 shots tee to green, 7.2 on approach. He finished 13th. He finished 13th while losing strokes putting. So really some good ball striking there. Hit it pretty well at Travelers. Lost strokes putting again to kind of keep him only at 40th. But I think you take that plus the good finish of the Irish Open last week. I do like him a lot at 7,400. I also like Jordan Smith. We talked about learning some names on the DP Tour. He's 7,300, playing really well in the DP Tour right now. He's been he's played 5 tournaments since May 1st. He's been top 25 in all these tournaments. I actually looked at some DP Tour stats, Jeff. That's how prepared I am to talk to you today.
I appreciate your dedication to the craft.
He's leads the DP Tour in shots gained off the tee during this season, and he's 4th in shots gained tee to green. So Jordan Smith hitting the ball really well, finishing well with the 5 top 25, 7,300. I think I'm going one of the Euros that I'm going to take a chance on this week.
All right. What about Minwoo Lee? Won the Scottish last year over Thomas Detry and Matt Fitzpatrick, going back to my name there. Has been a guy that, we've seen some of the other bigger events where he qualifies. He's been a kind of trendy sleeper. He's only 7,300. Big hitter. Do you like him?
Didn't jump out to me as someone I was going to take. He played well at the U.S. Open, though. Finished 27th. But prior to that, he had missed the cut at Memorial, the Schwab, and the PGA Championship. So I was a little off him there. But I do like the U.S. Open finish, and you like the course history here. I just like Jordan Smith and Aaron Ryan more. You look at Minwoo Lee, recent performance, finished 58th at the Irish Open last week. So nothing that really jumped off the page there.
Sure.
So kind of recent form. I preferred Ryan Smith when I looked at this range.
Okay, very good. Let's go cheapies. Who do you like in the cheapie range?
Man, the cheapies are wild this week. Like you gotta look at the DP Tour. If you want to find some cheapies. My first guy is actually a PGA player. At 6,900, I really do like how Matthew Neesmith is playing right now.
Yep.
He finished 19th at the Travelers. Hit it really well too. Gained 9.5 tee to green, 6.8 approach. He's made 7 straight cuts. And you dig a little bit in this field. The last 24 rounds, you look at Neesmith, and he's priced 6,900, so way down the list. But he's 16th in approach. He's 20th in ball striking. He's 22nd in tee to green. So he grades out really well in terms of a bunch of the ball striking metrics in his recent form. So I do really like Neesmith at 6,900. A couple of Euro guys, Victor Perez at 6,900. He won the Dutch Open in May, and then he was top 3 at the Porsche Euro Open in June. He did miss the cut at the U.S. Open, but he's 7th on the DP Tour in shots gained approach. So he's playing really well on that tour. A guy that we've seen in majors and stuff, and kind of waiting for him to have his breakout moment. But it's under 7,000. I think he's worth a shot. Also, Fabrizio Zanatti at 6,800. I think he's from Paraguay, if I'm getting that right. He's got 4 straight top 40s since May on the DP Tour. He was 4th the Irish Open last weekend. So if you're going to play recent form, in Europe, he's playing really well right now. There's a lot of people that like Patrick Harrington this week, 6,700. He just won the senior U.S. Open. He was top 20 at this event the last 2 years. I think I prefer Zanatti, Perez, and Neesmith a little bit more. And if you want to go pure punt mode, at 6,300, Calum Taryn, who finished 6th at the John Deere last week, hit it really well. He made the cut at the U.S. Open. So, the theory is he finished 5th at Puerto Rico, 6th at the Deere. Maybe he just plays well in bad events. But 31st at the U.S. Open, how tough that course was, a pretty good finish. So if you really wanted to save a bunch of money, maybe you want to play one of the top guys, Taryn at 6,300, I think is rosterable.
I think Talum got some TV time on Friday and Saturday at the U.S. Open,
Yeah,
and not just because the airlines lost his clubs again.
that's
That I believe
right.
that's the guy that has twice had his clubs lost before an Open, but this time got him a little bit quicker.
That's pretty wild. Anybody down here in the sixes that we didn't talk about that you like?
Yeah, anybody with a J in their last name that doesn't start with a J, like a Højgaard here, a Bjorn there.
Yeah,
No,
you're family Højgaard most times, so I was wondering if you're back in on him.
no, I'm not. I just thought it was interesting. Sepp Straka's down there at 6,800.
Yeah.
Won a tournament earlier this year, and now he's low priced again. But then again, he hasn't done much lately, so I get it.
Yeah, I saw a friend of the podcast always Danny Willett down there at 6,500, but I don't think I can do that one either. I think I'm Neesmith, Perez, and Zanotti, and probably find other ways to save some money.
I'm persuaded that you're probably right about that there. Kind of curious to see, Matt Wallace is a guy we were rostering a couple years ago. I've heard very little about him lately. He's down priced pretty lowly. And he finished 5th in the Dutch Open, 18th in the Porsche European Open, but hasn't done much in bigger tournaments. And we haven't seen a whole lot out of his name lately, and had a big miscut streak last year. So, or early in the year and in March. So yeah.
One of those
he's
guys
earned that price.
One of those guys I really liked a couple years ago, and after getting burned a bunch of times, I'm kind of make him show me before I roster him again. But
Agreed.
Has some talent, but it just never seems to come around. He has some flashes of brilliance, but I think I'm too scarred by Wallace to go back yet.
Yeah. I don't think I'll be seeing where the blank is Wallace on my roster this time. But anyways, all right.
I'm 2 for 2 on getting references. I'm really
it's a good day.
Fire right now. That's good.
It is a good day.
Yeah.
All right. Let's shuffle on over the SI Sportsbook. Let's look at some odds here. Who's on your betting sheet, Scott?
Fun. I love great field events because you get really good players at better prices. We talked about, when there's 2 or 3 good players and they're all 8 or 10 to 1, it's just really hard to get good bets in there. So I'm going to kind of not take the top tier again. It's usually the way I go. Every once in a while we do go top tier and it's done well, but if I were to play in the top tier, probably Xander at 18 to 1, but it's just a little too expensive a price for me. I'm going to drop down. I'm going to play Will Zalatoris at 25 to 1 for sure. I really like that this week. I think a lot of people are going to be on that. If you want to bet Zalatoris, I'd probably do it sooner rather than later. I think that number is going to drop. Is more likely to drop than it is to go up. So I think if I want to get on Will Z, I would do it now. I like Hideki this week at 30 to 1. I just think that's a really good number for someone who's playing really well, played great at the U.S. Open we talked about. Then I'm going to drop back and play 3 guys in the mid-range that are 3 of my favorites. No surprise. I'm going to play Max Homa at 50 to 1. Love that number on Max. I think that is way too high. I think he should be in the 35 to 1 range. Keegan Bradley, 55 to 1. A FOMO pick. He can't win without me being on him, so I got to get in there. And then I'm actually going to take Mito Pereira at 66 to 1. I think that the ball striking numbers, the recent missed cuts has dropped his price down. I was really impressed by him, not only at the PGA, but then how he bounced back from that. So I like his game. I love the ball striking numbers. I look at it, he just ranks so highly and everything. He just can kind of put it together. He's someone that at 66 to 1 really can compete to win this tournament. So there's 5 right there. The one guy I left off that I do like is Hovland at 33 to 1. It's a pretty good price, but I just like the other ones a little bit more. And you obviously can't bet everybody if you want to remain profitable in this game. So I'm going to go with those 5, and then a couple of darts down the board, maybe some top 10s. I like Jordan Smith. We talked about him earlier. 100 to 1 to win, 9 to 1 in a top 10, and Matthew Neesmith 11 to 1 in a top 10. So I think that's going to kind of round out my betting card. Those last couple of darts there.
I kind of like as a dart Mav McNeely at 80 to 1 too.
It's one of these times it's got to come together for Mav. He played well last week, right?
Yeah, he was another one of those. I was 5 for 6 at the Deer.
Who was your miss?
Huh? What?
Oh, that's right. On the number, right?
On the number after 3 under the first day, and then had a bad second day, and on the number, and it was and the number changed for a long time. It was -1, -1, -1, -2, -2, -3.
Yeah, it's
but you know what? You sent me a link to one of those to a site that does odds on making cuts, live predictions.
Such a fun site.
Datagolf.com for those, and it does a projected cut, and
it's always funny because the TV broadcasts are like, oh, the cut's at -1. And you're like, it's gonna move, and like you look and it's like 98% to get -3. And you're like, what are you guys talking about? Like, you just someone on the broadcast would pull that up and be like, oh, it looks like it's gonna move, and just they seem to never do.
Well, I feel like golf generally is behind baseball and even football in terms of the data revolution, in terms of how things are presented. I mean, it's out there. All the shots gained data is out there. It's being used by smart people, and us, it's out there. It's just the presentation isn't. Presentation isn't great, and it's not common parlance yet.
Yeah. And I feel like there's not a lot of people that can explain it well that are on the big broadcasters. I think is the big problem. And they, with the betting and stuff too, they put the betting odds up and they explain it so badly too. I just think that they need someone on there that is really well versed in the daily game and the betting game to kind of explain something. People would get into it.
Yeah, and I think it would enhance their broadcast. I think it would get more people. And maybe they know they have us already. I don't know, but
maybe. But if you're going to throw up the odds, at least have someone on there who knows what they mean. I guess is kind of what I would go to.
100% agree with that. All right, let's hit one and done. Who do you got?
Who was Ritter's? I forget who he put in there.
Ritter is going to go. Fox? He's going with the Fox. Ryan Fox is going to be his sneaky under the radar pick. He said he would have used Will Z had Will Z been available to him.
I would have used Will Z or Hideki if they're available, but they are not. I've torn between dropping down the board or taking someone up. I think I'm going to go up. I'm going to go with Patrick Cantlay this week. Good recent form. I think that not many people will be on him. So I'm going to play Cantlay this week. I have not used him yet, so I think I'm going to go ahead and burn him this week.
All right. Well, I have choices. I'll always make the wrong one, except for the Canadian Open. Well, it's on foreign soil, so I've got a chance this week. So
there you go. You're on a very hot streak on non-US soil events right now.
Yes. 1 for 1. No, I'm 1 for 2 because I didn't get Mexico right. Hovland, Fitzpatrick, or Matsuyama are my choices, really, because I'm using Scheffler next week. I think I'm going Decky. Yeah. I'll finally use Decky. I'll jinx my own season-long team because, oh my gosh, it's so close to winning. I bet, But I'll use Decky this week. My backup will be Hovland. We have a backup option on that one there.
Yeah, I like Hideki this week. I like that one. I would use him if I had him available. But to the surprise of nobody, I have burned Decky already this year.
Yeah, he's one of your security blankets for sure.
He is. Are we now going half an hour on the Barbasol Open?
Yeah, exactly right. We're gonna do a 20-minute review on Portland for the LIV.
Beautiful. I can't wait.
So Paul Casey went LIV this week.
Yeah.
Nice season for us there. Withdrew from multiple tournaments, and then goes LIV on us there. I hear like there's going to be 4 more after the Open Championship. I heard. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, not really. I've seen the rumors also, and I think the Secret Tour Pro or whatever on Twitter has been breaking them and doing pretty well. I don't know. I think these guys just I mean, you look at someone like Paul Casey, who's what is he, mid-40s and has a bad back. Like, I guess if you're going to get a payment, now's the time to do it. The Casey one's weird though, because he actually refused to play in the Saudi Open in 2019 because of his ties with UNICEF, his charitable work he does with them. So like to take such a serious, hard stand, and a lot of guys talk that off about Saudi. It's one event. I'm playing golf, and the fact that he just a hard stand and now goes to LIV. Well, I was a little surprised by Casey, to be honest.
I'm taken aback by it. I think it's straight up hypocritical. But
the funny thing is, he said he'd be a hypocrite to play in 2019. He actually used that word in 2019 in his quote, and now it's very strange.
Yeah, I guess if the Crown Prince wanted to pay us $1 billion to do gaming golf, we'd listen to it too, or $1 million or whatever. But
yeah, it's easy to say you wouldn't if it's not right in front of your face. But yeah, sure, it's when that amount of money, and Casey's got health issues and is past his prime and had played some good golf recently. But I was a little surprised based on his history with the Saudi Arabia comments.
The only guy I really don't feel too bad. Well, not the only guy, but the one guy I especially don't feel that upset about him going is Pat Perez. He was so honest about it.
Yep.
And he's a grinder on the tour. Yep. And he said I hit the lottery. I mean, yeah.
That was his. I mean, he's 46 and he's been grinding for 20 years, and he hit the lottery. They're going to pay him that much. I respected the fact that he was actually just honest about it.
Yeah, same here. So, any other thoughts before we sign off?
Who would be the one guy that went to LIV that would absolutely just break your heart if they went?
Rory.
Yeah. Well, he can't do any numbers. Mine would be Morikawa, but
yeah,
I don't think either one will. I think that it's going to be interesting to see who those rumored names, if they start to get any kind of the big names that are like under 32 or any of these like top 20 guys, because they haven't quite broken into that, and that might be the final straw that actually might start to make a difference.
Yeah, and to be fair, players have some grievances against the PGA Tour, and the PGA Tour hasn't handled this well at all.
They feel more like they didn't prepare for it very well.
Right,
They
exactly.
didn't take it seriously, I guess.
And they thought the power of threat was enough, and not too much stick, not enough carrot.
Billy Ho though came out strong. That would not have been my bingo card as guys to come out strong. I did not expect that. He came out really strong.
Yeah, he did. He certainly did. So, anyways, we're living in interesting times in the golf world. So we'll see more. We'll have more to talk about.
And this should be a really fun event this week too.
Yep. It'll be a fun event this week and the British next week. So we're looking forward to that. Thanks everybody listening to Gaming Golf. Good luck in your tournaments, and we'll check in again with you next week for the British. Take care.